Up next, from Nanmu Studio, Bastian the Apatosaurus. Before we do anything, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Now let's talk about it.
MBB on the track.
What up, party people in the place? I am the Ruckus, and these are my toys. On deck, for the first time on this channel, reviewing a dinosaur, we have Bastian the Apatosaurus from Nanmu Studio. This is my first time with the dinosaur. I'm a dinosaur cat too, not just action figures, but I've been into dinosaurs since I was a kid, and I only collect higher end models because of how realistic they look. A lot of times you can't even tell, depending on the photography. If the photography is correct, you can't even tell if the dinosaur is a model or a living creature. Yeah, that's a little bit about me and my dinosaur love. This right here, an Apatosaurus. Nanmu Studio has named it Bastian. As far as the dinosaur itself, Apatosaurus, it may look familiar to you. You may think of the word Brontosaurus, which I'm sure even those that aren't into dinosaurs, they've heard of that before. Well, there was a time Apatosaurus and Brontosaurus actually were confused, mostly because the skull of Apatosaurus wasn't his skull, wasn't its skull. It was actually, the skull belonged to a Camarasaurus or Brachiosaurus, one or the other. It escapes me right now. But anyway, there was a time when we stopped calling Brontosaurus, and it was called Apatosaurus until it was discovered that there is a Brontosaurus and that they are both two different species. So there is in fact a Brontosaurus and an Apatosaurus. We're looking at an Apatosaurus right now. They both, if you're talking about Brontosaurus or Apatosaurus, they were both in the late Jurassic. They lived about $152, 152 million years ago. Like I said, in the late Jurassic. They were, fossils of them were found in Oklahoma, I believe Utah. I know they were found in Wyoming and Colorado, and they were also found in New Mexico, in what paleontologists have dubbed the Morrison Formation. Apatosaurus grew to about 75 feet long. It averaged between 69 and 75 feet long, and it weighed about 30 tons. So yeah, a big boy. There's an Apatosaurus skeleton in the American Museum of Natural History. I visit that every time I visit my family in New York, and I am always impressed by it. What's crazy is as long as that dinosaur is, and I believe that one in the American Museum of Natural History is about 70 feet long. They have a dinosaur that's on display in its own room by itself, even longer. Belong to the same family. Apatosaurus belongs to a group known as the sauropods, or long-necked dinosaurs, for obvious reasons. The dinosaur I'm speaking of in the American Museum of Natural History is called Pagoda Titan. And that sucker was, I want to say, 120 feet long. So that dinosaur makes this dinosaur full grown at 70 feet look like its kid. So it's crazy how large these animals got, and these are land animals. You know, when you talk about something in the hundreds, the first thing you think about are whales, and they live in the ocean. You know, they got room to grow there. I mean, what are these creatures doing growing to this size? But be that as it may, that's what happened. We've got our Apatosaurus, so we're going to take a look at the box. You're already seeing what's on front here. You've got over here Nanmu Studio. You've got something that's in the native language. You've got an illustration of Bastian the Apatosaurus, and that's probably Bastian in Chinese right over there. You look at the top, you've got Bastian. The sides really have nothing, so let's get right to the back, and you've got more native tongue, both dead center and off to the left, and then you've got not suitable for children under 3 years due to small parts. I don't know what small parts they're talking about. I guess we'll figure that out when we open Bastian up. And then back to the front again. Get him centered. There we go. Back to the front again. And there goes Bastian. Let's get him open. You see, this is what I mean when I say I only get the premium, the higher end dinosaur models. Because of the realism, but also with the care that they take with packaging. So I wanted to show you guys this real quick. Also included in here is you get a little leaflet of the dinosaur, giving some facts. Can't read those facts because it's in the native tongue, and some more information, I'm sure, but I can't read it. What can I tell you? You also get some nice artwork here. See if I can bring it up a little bit without it blurring out. Of an Apatosaurus roaming in its natural habitat. Pretty smooth. And on the back are instructions on how to connect the tail. As you can see, Bastian comes in 2 separate sections, or else if they had them all together, the box would be way too long. So speaking of that box, let's get him out of it. So here he is. Bastian out of his packaging, and as you can see, I cannot fit him entirely in frame. He's just too long, so this is how we're going to do it. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to try to get it so you can at least see all of him, even though you won't be able to see all of him together. So there you have it. That's him. I'm going to just move him forward a little bit at a time. So you can see that Bastian just, he keeps going. He keeps going. He keeps going. And I would keep going, but I literally ran into the wall. So, yeah, Bastian is a big boy. He's a big boy. So, what we're going to do next, since we're talking about how big he is, we're going to take a measurement. And I'm going to begin on camera, but it's going to end up off camera, so bear with me as we get this measurement in. And I had to break out the old school tape measure for this one. So Bastian is rocking at about 29.5 inches, and keep in mind that his tail is whipping, so it's not fully extended. So if it were fully extended, he probably would be about 32, 33 inches long. So that's pretty long. He is listed at 135 scale. So at 29 inches, that would convert into 1/30th scale as opposed to 135. If it were 135, this would represent an animal that's 86 feet long. He instead, if it's 130 scale, he would be 73 feet, and that's right in there with the size of an Apatosaurus. So he's really scaled at 1:30, but you could still fudge it if you're a collector that deals in dinos that are 1/35 scale. So that's how it goes down in terms of the scale of the Apatosaurus named Bastian. taking a look at the accessory, the lone accessory that Bastian comes with. He comes with a figurine of a human being, and it's in a cellophane bag, as you can see. And let's get him out of the bag. So we've got the figurine out of the bag. It's a human being in a probably a lab coat of some kind, and it's great about having these. It's you know, you may be wondering, why would you give something like that? Well, for one thing, why it's good to have a figurine, especially of this size, is that it is in scale. So putting that figurine right there by Bastian, I can attest that yeah, it's close. The figurine probably should be just a little bit taller, and just gauging off of when I was in the American Museum of Natural History, yeah, it's pretty big. But I think the figurine probably, to be more in scale, would be about up to here. But hey, it's cool. Just like with anything that I collect, I'm always happy to get an accessory, whether I need it or not. So anyway, with Bastian, let us get a closer look at the dinosaur. So we've got Bastian up close and personal, so close you might want to give him a little smooch. Now, why don't you? Go on ahead, you know you want to. Anyway, taking a look at the details in the head. If you're into collecting dinosaurs, you know that collectors are really big on the detail going on in the head sculpts. A lot of times with sauropods, they have to extrapolate what they look like, because as large as these animals were, when it came to fossilization and you know, making it to modern times, the skulls being as small as they were, they suffered big time. Most sauropod skeletons don't have heads. Those that do, a lot of times what scientists will do is they'll assume that other sauropods, different species, looked similar, depending if they're part of the subspecies of that dinosaur. In this case, with Apatosaurus, if you can see how how long the snout is, that's because Apatosaurus belonged to a subset known as the Diplodocei, which is derived from the animal known as Diplodocus. So normal times, the main animal, the first animal of its kind, usually gets the honor of having the whole subspecies named after it. So Apatosaurus, the funny thing is Apatosaurus is more commonly known, more popular than Diplodocus, but Apatosaurus is part of the Diplodocus family, so to speak. So taking a look at the head, you can see it's the nostrils. Make sure I stay in frame there, stay in focus, and you've got the nice looking eyes there, the mouth. As far as the skin, I love how it's got wrinkles, and you know, they didn't play the crazy scale game. I'm moving him up so you can see the stripe work there. The artists, they did a wonderful job, the paint job in terms of the meshing the darker brown stripes with the tan stripes every other. You can see how it goes down the leg, keeping it going onto the torso. You can see how it ultimately blends in. You can see the folds there as they try to make it look as realistic as possible. When you get to the rear, to the hind leg here, the left hind leg, you see the folds there. You see the skin stretching, trying to show that the animal is taking steps. So that's really all good right there. and you still have some more of that great looking paint apps. Moving on down the tail area, and speaking of the tail area, unfortunately you can still see the seam of where I connected the tail. I had a hell of a time connecting the tail. I eventually had to put the tail in hot water at the end to soften it up, and then it just popped right on. So that was it ended up being easy. I'm going to go back because I should have shown back here. You see you've got more wrinkles, and it's just great. You can move up the tail, and you can see that you've got more of those wrinkles going on. It's just a wonderful thing. I'm running out of room here, but I'm going to try to do it. And you still have that great paint work as the tail tapers into its whip-like state. I'm going to flip it to the other side and go in reverse and try to do so without hitting my camera again. So we're coming down, and you can see, got to use my hand here. My apologies, but this boy is a big boy. So you have much of the same going on the other side here. That paint work, the wrinkles right there as the right hind leg is lunging forward. The wrinkles in the belly right there, looking good. And taking it all the way up and back, you can see you get a lot of the same thing. And then we're looking at the Apatosaurus from the other side, his skull. And you can see those eyes nicely painted. Taking a look at his spine, turning him this way, trying to get out of my own light. This is a big boy. Please forgive me. But yeah, so you can see he starts to get what are known as scoots running down his tail. And yeah, it tapers on until nothingness. Taking a look at his underside, there's a thing with dino collectors they're big on. I'm not too crazy about. They're always, for realism's sake, they're always concerned with whether or not there's a cloaca being built. Cloaca would be over there. You can take a guess what the cloaca is for. So I don't care one way or the other when it comes to that. What I do care about is the other aspects of accuracy. And when it comes to sauropods, a lot of times they get the feet wrong in terms of how many toes or how many claws are on the toes. When it comes to Apatosaurus, they got him right, especially when you look at the front. Let me spin him around real quick. Sorry, he came out of frame, but I'll keep saying it. He's a big boy. If you look at his toes, I'll do it this way. You see he's got a claw sticking out there and there. That is accurate. A lot of times with some dinosaur model makers, they forget that. They'll get the number of toes confused, mixed up, or just wrong. In this case, Apatosaurus, his hind feet have, he's got 5 toes and 3 of them are clawed. And you saw with the front, he's got he's got 5 also up there, but 3 of them are hooved. And with one claw, we call it like a thumb claw, I guess. And then one hoof that's very underdeveloped. Sitting him down and back so you can see his face again. Yeah, that's Apatosaurus. Now for some size comparisons, so you can get an idea of what we're dealing with Apatosaurus. I'm going to be displaying him with creatures that shared his environment. In this case, that preyed upon Apatosaurus. You've got here a theropod dinosaur, meat-eating dinosaur known as a Torvosaurus. And when you look at the different sizes, I know those of you that aren't as into dinos as I am, or anybody that is, you're probably thinking there's no way in hell that this guy could take down the Apatosaurus. And I agree. So it's my theory that theropods that lived in the environment of sauropods hunted in packs, because other than that, the only way a theropod could take down something this large is if it were already sick, wounded, dying, or younger than a full-sized one. They could take out the juvies all day long and twice on Sunday. Next, we have the more well-known predator from the Jurassic, Allosaurus. And what's funny is these were definitely known for hunting Apatosaurus, and Allosaurs were smaller than Torvosaurs. Not by much, 2, 3, 4 feet maybe. In a lot of instances, there are some paleontologists that believe that Allosaurs could grow up to about 38 feet long, but they averaged about 30, 32 feet. Maybe a big one was 35. But yeah, there you go. Another Morrison Formation predator. And here's another Morrison Formation occupant. You've got another very well-known, very popular dinosaur, Stegosaurus. And once again, you see how large Apatosaurus is compared to Stegosaurus. And Stegosaurus grew to 30 feet long. So, chew on that for a minute. And to have them compared up against other sauropods, you've got Giraffe Titan here, a slimmer version of the more popularly known Brachiosaurus, popular because of all the Jurassic Park movies. And if you see him wobbling, that's because I'm actually holding him because of how big he is, how tall he is. I'm going to stand him up now so you understand what I'm saying. You see that he's barely in frame right there, and I've got the Apatosaurus on a stand in order to be able to reach up to him. So just so you get an idea of what I'm talking about, I'm going to take the Apatosaurus off of the stand and have him at ground level with the Giraffe Titan. So there you go. After this review, you know how big the Apatosaurus is, and even though it's slightly out of 135 scale, it's not by that much. So like I said, you could fudge it. The Giraffe Titan is the same thing. It's based on 135 scale. So you see how big it is compared to the Apatosaurus. And the fun doesn't stop there. You may recall at the beginning of this review, I mentioned a dinosaur called the Pagoda Titan. That's in the American Museum of Natural History that eclipsed even the Apatosaurus. Well, this is a creature called the Wanga Titan. It's from China, and it was about the same size as the Pagoda Titan. So now you get an idea of the size difference and why I said that even though I was in awe at the Apatosaurus, once I went to that other room and saw that Pagoda Titan, my jaw just dropped. And this critter right here is, like I said, around the same size, and it is to scale quite close. It's probably about $1.30 also, which makes both of these in scale with one another. I will give you an idea to see what the head of Wanga Titan looks like. So there you see, that's the top of the Wanga Titan. He's a lot more massive than the Giraffe Titan, but the Giraffe Titan is taller because Giraffe Titans, Brachiosaurs, that whole line of sauropods, their forelegs are longer than their hind legs, so it assists with them with their height. And the Apatosaurus Bastion was getting jealous that he was out of frame. This is supposed to be his review, so there's Bastion again. So to sum it all up, this, my first paleontological review, had to go fancy there, my first review of a dinosaur model, and I came in big with Bastion the Apatosaurus by Nanmu Studio. This is an excellent representation of an Apatosaurus. Very lifelike. I'm sure I can get some good pictures going on using certain photography to get what I'm looking for. The paint apps are fantastic. I love the coloring. I love how everything blends into one another. The realism of the skull is great. Like I said before, a lot of times they have to derive their speculation on how an animal appeared by going off of other animals, other more complete skeletons of other animals that are in the same family. So they can come up with an idea of what the creature looked like. The accuracy is on point. The size is incredible. I'm going to have to figure out where I'm going to put him. In fact, I'm going to have to figure out where I'm going to put all my dinosaurs. I have no place to put them. I actually have all of them posed on a DJ coffin case that houses CD decks in a club mixer, pretty big. I've got them all on there, and they're all crammed in. Maybe I'll take a picture one day so you can see what I'm talking about. I have to find some place to put my dinos. But anyway, that is Bastion, the Apatosaurus by Nanmu Studio. He's been out for, I think he came out in the beginning of 2020, the end of 2019, something like that. If you're looking for one, I don't normally plug stores because ain't nobody sponsoring me, so why should I give them cred, props, or whatever? But in this case, we're talking about dinos. I know that there's a shop called Dan's Dinosaurs. They may still have some. As far as anywhere else, I couldn't tell you. I got mine from AliExpress from overseas, and now I'll plug them. They're overseas. Yeah, it took, because of all of this nonsense with the beer bug still going on plaguing us, it took about 3 weeks, a little bit more, for it to get to me, which ain't bad considering it came from China. But yeah, you could look to that to try to get one. But other than that, yeah, Bastion the Apatosaurus, Nanmu Studio. The Ruckus, humming, coming at you. Thank you guys for rocking with me. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and smash that bell so you can be notified when I upload another video. Until the next time, my peeps, remember, the hunt continues. And I'm out. Peace.